The grand entrance of Zenith Financial, bathed in the soft glow of an early afternoon sun, witnessed a peculiar scene. A security officer, a burly man named Thomas, firmly steered the supposed bank owner towards the exit. Yet, a serene smile played on her lips as she whispered 5 words that, moments later, would shatter careers and reshape an empire. It's about to change. It was a crisp Tuesday at 2:47 p.m. Dr. Alana Vance, poised and elegant at 40, entered Zenith Financial's gleaming marble lobby. Her charcoal power suit, meticulously tailored, exuded an understated luxury that spoke of quiet wealth rather than ostentation. Her stride was purposeful, a testament to years spent mastering complex financial landscapes and cultivating a keen intellect through rigorous postgraduate studies. At the reception, branch manager Elias Thorne, a recent MBA graduate barely 6 months into his role, glanced up, a dismissive sneer already forming. Seeing a woman of color, he made immediate, ill-informed judgments. "Madam, this is a private institution. You can't just waltz in here making demands." Thomas, the security guard, stepped forward, his hand hovering near his belt. Customers, alerted by the raised voices, began to discreetly pull out their phones. The impending humiliation was clearly intended to be public, recorded for all to see. "People like you need to understand your place," Thorne announced, his voice carrying across the silent lobby, punctuated only by the soft clicks of phone cameras. "Have you ever been so thoroughly underestimated that your measured response ignites a revolution? This is one of those real-life narratives where quiet power dismantles entrenched systems." Thorne leaned against his sleek, modern desk, arms crossed, his 6 feet 2 inches frame literally towering over Alana's 5 feet 4 inches stature. His tone dripped with condescension, reserved for those he deemed beneath him. "Listen, we get people like you every day with various grievances. This isn't a complaints department, ma'am." Alana's expression remained perfectly composed. She calmly placed her sleek, minimalist handbag on the edge of the desk. "I'm here for a pre-scheduled, significant business discussion. Nothing more." "Significant business?" Thorne's laugh was devoid of any warmth. "Right. And I suppose you have an account here that merits our immediate attention?" Thomas moved closer. He'd seen countless disputes in his 10 years on the job, but something about this woman felt different. Yet, Thorne was his superior. 3 customers were now openly staring. One, a young woman named Zara Khan, live streaming on her Equity Watch channel, whispered in her phone. "Y'all seeing this, right? This manager is completely out of line." Her viewer count jumped from 300 to 3,000 in seconds. Thorne, oblivious to the growing digital audience, continued his performance. "Madam, I'm going to need you to calm down before this escalates." "I haven't raised my voice once," Alana replied, her tone even and clear. "Your aggressive body language suggests otherwise." Assistant Manager Sophia Lee emerged from the back office, drawn by the commotion. Ambitious and diligent, she had risen from teller to management in 4 years. Her initial instinct was to support her supervisor. "Is there a problem here?" Lee asked. "This woman claims she has business with us," Thorne explained, exasperated. "No appointment, no documentation. Just walked in demanding special treatment." Lee observed Alana's attire. The suit was undoubtedly high-end, the handbag genuine leather, not a cheap imitation. Something didn't quite align with Thorne's dismissal, but he was her boss. Alana reached into her bag, retrieving her wallet with deliberate, unhurried movements. A gleaming black card, a rare private client card, briefly caught the light before she tucked it away. Thorne missed it entirely. "Madam, I'm going to ask you one more time to leave peacefully," Thorne announced, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear, "before we involve actual law enforcement." Zara's live stream exploded with comments. Viewers surged from 3,000 to 7,500 in minutes. The chat scrolled rapidly with outrage and disbelief. "This is insane," Zara whispered into her phone. "He's literally treating her like a criminal for simply existing as a woman of color in a bank." Other customers began recording as well. Damian Clark, a local digital journalist with 60,000 followers, had just entered the bank. He immediately recognized the developing situation and started his own video. The large wall clock read 2:55 p.m. Alana glanced at her wrist, where a minimalist timepiece, an heirloom that cost more than Thorne's annual salary, gleamed. She seemed to be counting down something. "I'll give you exactly 2 more minutes," she said quietly. Thorne's confidence surged. 2 minutes for what? To call security on yourself? Thomas shifted uncomfortably. The woman hadn't done anything threatening. She hadn't raised her voice, made demands, or caused any disturbance. His instincts told him to step back, but Thorne's authority was undeniable. Lee pulled out her tablet, accessing the customer database. "What's your account number?" she asked, attempting to de-escalate. Alana smiled faintly. "That won't be necessary." Thorne turned to the growing crowd. "See? No account, no legitimate business here. Just another troublemaker looking for an easy payout." The word "another" hung in the air like a noxious fume. Everyone understood the implicit prejudice. Zara's viewer count hit 9,000. Comments poured in from across the globe. Screenshots were already proliferating on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. "Madam, you need to leave now," Thorne declared. "Security, please escort her out." Thomas hesitated. "Sir, she hasn't actually done anything. She's trespassing. Remove her." The moment solidified, for separate phone cameras recorded from different angles. The bank's internal security system captured everything in high definition. Zara's live stream reached 10,000 viewers. Alana remained perfectly still in the center of the commotion, surrounded by staff, security, and a growing crowd of customers. She showed no sign of stress or anger. Instead, she reached into her bag again. This time, she pulled out her phone. The device was sleek, expensive, with a custom case bearing the discreet initials AV. "A quick call will clarify everything," she said calmly. Thorne's smug expression faltered slightly. Something in her tone suggested this wasn't an empty threat. Lee watched nervously as Alana scrolled through her contacts. The name she selected wasn't visible to anyone else. The phone rang once. "Leo." Alana's voice was quiet but carried absolute authority. "Code 7 Protocol, Zenith Financial, Downtown Branch." Immediately, she ended the call after 15 seconds. Thorne laughed nervously. "Who exactly did you just call?" "Your lawyer." Alana slipped the phone back into her bag. "Someone who actually works here." The clock showed 2:58 p.m. outside. Downtown traffic continued its usual Tuesday rhythm. Inside, tension built like pressure in a sealed container. Thorne looked around the room, suddenly aware that dozens of people were recording him. His confidence wavered as he realized this incident was already going viral. "Corporate security is probably laughing at your call right now," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Alana, check her watch again." 90 seconds, she said quietly. The bank's atmosphere shifted perceptibly. What started as a routine customer service dispute had transformed into something resembling a public spectacle. Zara's live stream viewer count climbed past 12,000 as word spread across social media platforms. Thorne paced behind his desk, phone pressed to his ear. "Yes, I need corporate security to confirm something. We have a situation here." Lee pulled Thomas aside. "This feels wrong," she whispered. "Something's off about this whole thing." "I know," Thomas replied quietly. "She's not acting like someone who's lying." Damian, the digital journalist, positioned himself for the best camera angle. His 60,000 Instagram followers were about to witness something significant. He could sense it, the way experienced journalists smell a breaking story. "Folks, this is Damian Clark reporting live from Zenith Financial, downtown," he whispered in his phone camera. "We're watching what appears to be a clear case of bias in banking, but something tells me there's more to this story." Thorne finished his call, looking slightly less confident. "Corporate confirms no VIP appointment scheduled today. No one by your description has authorization for special access." Alana's smile was patient, almost maternal. "Did you give them my name?" "I don't know your name." "You refused to provide identification." "You never asked for identification." "You assumed I didn't belong here." The distinction hit like a slap. Several customers nodded, recognizing the truth in her words. Zara's chat exploded with observations. Viewers dissected every detail of the interaction, noting Thorne's assumptions and subtle aggressions. Screenshots circulated on X, with hashtags gaining momentum. The clock read 2:59 p.m., 60 seconds, Alana announced. Thorne's nervous energy increased. 60 seconds until what? Until your imaginary friend arrives? Until you understand who you're speaking to? Lee's tablet chimed with an incoming message. She glanced at the screen and froze. The message was from Regional VP Leo Sterling. Emergency situation, downtown branch. En route immédiatement. Do not escalate further. She looked up at Alana with dawning comprehension. Elias, she said quietly, we might want to. Her words were cut off by the sound of hurried footsteps in the marble lobby. Leo Sterling burst through the bank's entrance, his usually impeccable appearance disheveled from running. Sterling was a career banking executive, 25 years with Zenith Financial. He'd climbed from loan officer to regional vice president through careful strategic maneuvering and absolute competence. People didn't see him run, ever. His eyes swept the crowd until they found Alana. Relief and terror crossed his face simultaneously. Dr. Vance, he said breathlessly, I am so incredibly sorry. The name hit Thorne like ice water. Vance. Lee's tablet nearly slipped from her hands. She quickly accessed the corporate directory, typing with trembling fingers. Sterling approached Alana with the reverence reserved for visiting royalty. Please accept my profound apologies for this egregious misunderstanding. Thorne's face drained of color. Ms. Vance, I didn't realize. Dr. Vance, Alana corrected gently. And you still don't. Zara's livestream chat became a blur of activity. Thousands of viewers demanded explanations, theories, and updates. The viewer count surpassed 20,000 and climbing. Lee found what she was looking for in the corporate directory. Her face went white as she read the entry. Dr. Alana Vance, founder and CEO, board chair, majority shareholder. The woman they just tried to remove from the bank owned the bank. Sterling turned to Thorne with barely controlled fury. Mr. Thorne, Dr. Vance founded this institution. She owns 72% of Zenith Financial. The words landed like physical blows. Thorne's legs seemed to give out slightly. He gripped his desk for support. Thomas stepped backward instinctively, distancing himself from the disaster he'd nearly participated in. There's a board meeting in 2 minutes, Alana said calmly. I suggest you attend. Damien's camera captured every moment. This was beyond viral content now. This was career-defining journalism happening in real time. The lobby fell silent except for the whispered commentary from phone cameras and Zara's livestream. Customers stared in fascination and horror at Thorne's public humiliation. Sterling gestured toward the elevator bank. Dr. Vance, please, the board is waiting upstairs. Thorne's career flashed before his eyes. 6 months on the job, MBA from a mid-tier school, student loans that would take 20 years to repay, all evaporating in real time. Dr. Vance, please, I can explain. There's nothing to explain, Alana interrupted. Your actions speak clearly. Lee approached hesitantly. Dr. Vance, we had no idea. Mr. Thorne handled the interaction. And Ms. Lee, isn't it? Alana's tone was professional but not unkind. You're not the problem here. We'll discuss your role separately. Relief flooded Lee's face. She wasn't being lumped in with Thorne's career suicide. Zara addressed her live stream audience. Y'all, I cannot believe what just happened. This man just tried to kick the actual owner out of her own bank. This is going to be everywhere by tonight. Her prediction was conservative. Screenshots and video clips were already spreading across every major social platform. Banking while black began trending nationally within minutes. Sterling looked physically ill. As regional VP, this incident happened under his oversight. His own career prospects hung in the balance. Dr. Vance, how would you like to proceed? He asked carefully. Alana glanced at her watch. 3:01 p.m. The board meeting started a minute ago. I don't like being late. She moved toward the elevators with measured grace. Sterling followed like a nervous aide. The crowd parted automatically, phones still recording her every step. Thorne remained frozen behind his desk, watching his professional life end in real time. Lee gathered her courage. "Should I come upstairs?" "Yes," Alana replied without turning around. "Bring Mr. Thorne." The elevator doors opened. Alana stepped inside, followed by Sterling. They waited as Thorne walked unsteadily across the marble floor, his confident swagger replaced by the stumble of a condemned man. Lee joined them, her tablet clutched against her chest like armor. As the elevator doors closed, cutting off the view from the lobby, Zara addressed her audience one final time before following the story upstairs. "Folks, this is just the beginning. We're about to see what happens when you mess with the wrong person." Her viewer count hit 25,000. The elevator began its ascent to the 47th floor, carrying 4 people whose lives had just changed forever. In the lobby below, customers and bystanders continued recording, knowing they'd witnessed something extraordinary. Outside, downtown traffic continued its Tuesday rhythm, oblivious to the corporate earthquake happening 47 floors above the street. Damien posted his first social media update. Breaking: bank manager tries to kick out black woman. Plot twist: she owns the bank. Full video coming within minutes. His post had 8,000 shares. The story was no longer contained within Zenith Financial's marble walls. It belonged to the internet now, and the internet never forgets. The elevator climbed silently toward the 47th floor. Sterling stood pressed against the back wall, sweat visible on his forehead despite the climate control. Thorne stared at the floor numbers ascending, each one marking another step toward professional oblivion. Lee clutched her tablet, her mind racing through the implications. She'd assisted in trying to remove the bank's founder from her own building. Career suicide by association. Alana stood perfectly composed, hands folded, watching the numbers climb with mild interest. "Dr. Vance," Sterling began carefully, "I want you to know that Mr. Thorne's actions don't reflect our institutional values or training protocols." "Don't they?" Alana's question was quiet but pointed. The elevator chimed softly as they passed the 30th floor. Thorne finally found his voice. "Dr. Vance, I had no idea who you were. If you just identified yourself, would that have mattered, Mr. Thorne?" Her question hung in the recycled air. They all knew the answer. 43rd floor. "I mean, yes, absolutely, of course it would have mattered." Thorne stammered. "So you treat people differently based on who they are, rather than treating everyone with basic respect?" 45th floor. Sterling watched this masterclass in executive interrogation with horrified fascination. Dr. Vance wasn't raising her voice or making threats. She was simply asking questions that dismantled Thorne's position with surgical precision. 46th floor. "That's not what I meant." Thorne protested weakly. "Then what did you mean?" 47th floor. The elevator doors opened to reveal Zenith Financial's executive level. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered panoramic views of the city. The reception area featured original abstract art and furniture that cost more than most people's annual salaries. The board meeting was already in session. Through glass conference room walls, 12 figures sat around a polished ebony table. Chairman Reginald Hayes, 75 years old, had mentored Alana through her early investment banking career. His silver hair and distinguished suits concealed a razor-sharp business mind. Sterling approached the conference room doors with visible reluctance. Inside, the board members were reviewing quarterly reports, unaware of the crisis developing in their building's lobby 30 minutes earlier. Hayes looked up as the doors opened, his face immediately registering concern at seeing Sterling's disheveled appearance and the unusual entourage. "Leo, is everything all right?" "Sir, we have a Code 7 situation," Sterling announced formally. The room fell silent. Code 7 indicated potential legal liability requiring immediate board attention. Hayes' eyes found Alana, and his expression shifted to confusion. "Alana? What's happening?" She entered the conference room with the same measured confidence she'd shown downstairs. Thorne and Lee followed like prisoners being led to sentencing. "Good afternoon, everyone," Alana said calmly. "I apologize for the disruption, but we need to address an incident that occurred in our downtown branch 40 minutes ago. Board members exchanged glances. Dr. Anya Sharma, the board's only other woman of color, sensed something significant brewing. Please sit. Hayes gestured to empty chairs. Alana remained standing. Thank you, but I prefer to present the facts clearly. She opened her briefcase, retrieving a tablet with practiced efficiency. She connected it to the room's presentation system. Zara's live stream appeared on the main screen. This footage was broadcast live on social media 30 minutes ago. It currently has 65,000 viewers and climbing. The board watched in growing horror as the incident unfolded. Thorne's voice filled the conference room. People like you come in here every day with complaints. Board member Oliver Klein, no relation to Sophia, visibly cringed. Oh my God. The footage continued. Thorne's dismissive attitude, his assumptions, his escalating hostility toward a customer who'd done nothing wrong. When Sterling burst into the frame, calling her Dr. Vance, several board members gasped. Good heavens, Hayes muttered. The video paused at the moment Thorne's face showed recognition and terror. This incident was witnessed by approximately 250 people in our lobby, Alana continued. It was live-streamed to over 70,000 viewers across multiple platforms. Screenshots are currently trending on X, Instagram, and TikTok. She clicked to the next slide, showing social media analytics in real time. Banking while black is trending nationally. Zenith Financial is trending regionally. Local news stations have already picked up the story. Board member Dr. Evelyn Reed, the communications expert, looked physically ill. The PR implications are catastrophic. Mr. Thorne, Alana addressed him directly for the first time since entering the boardroom. Would you like to explain your actions to the board? Thorne's mouth opened and closed without sound. Finally, I made a mistake. What specifically was your mistake? I didn't recognize you. Try again. The room waited. Thorne's career hung on his next words. I made assumptions based on. He couldn't finish the sentence. Based on what, Mr. Thorne? Hayes leaned forward. 23 years of banking experience told him this conversation was being recorded for legal purposes. I made assumptions about who belonged in our bank, Thorne finally admitted. The confession hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Dr. Sharma spoke first. Mr. Thorne, are you saying you determined Dr. Vance didn't belong in our bank based on her race? No, that's not. I mean, it's a simple yes or no question. Thorne's career ended in that moment of silence. Alana clicked to the next slide. Our corporate charter, which I personally drafted, contains explicit anti-discrimination clauses. Policy 847 establishes zero tolerance for bias-based customer service. She clicked again. The legal implications are significant. Mr. Thorne's actions exposed Zenith Financial to potential civil rights violations, discrimination lawsuits, and federal banking regulation violations. General Counsel Victor Ramirez took notes frantically. The legal exposure was enormous. However, Alana continued, I'm not here to destroy careers or seek monetary damages. Relief flickered across several faces. I'm here to ensure this never happens again. She clicked to a new slide, showing policy proposals. I'm proposing comprehensive reforms, mandatory bias training for all customer-facing employees, monthly diversity audits for all branches, customer interaction monitoring systems with bias flagging capabilities. Board member Mr. Julian Croft raised his hand. What about Mr. Thorne? Alana looked at Thorne directly. Mr. Thorne has a choice. Immediate resignation with standard severance, or termination for cause with no benefits. Thorne's shoulders slumped. I'll resign. Ms. Lee, Alana continued. Your response to the situation shows you can learn from this experience. You'll receive bias training and a 6-month probationary period. Lee nodded gratefully. Thank you, Dr. Vance. Hayes cleared his throat. Alana, what do you need from us? Full board approval for the policy changes, implementation within 30 days, and a public statement reaffirming our commitment to serving all customers equally. The board voted unanimously. As members began filing out, discussing implementation details, Thorne approached Alana one final time. Dr. Vance, I'm sorry. I really am. She studied his face for a moment. Mr. Thorne, I believe you're sorry you got caught. Whether you're sorry for your actions remains to be seen. Thorne left the conference room a broken man. Sterling lingered behind. Dr. Vance, I take full responsibility for inadequate oversight. Leo, this isn't about you, but use this as a learning experience. Our managers need better training in unconscious bias recognition. Absolutely. I'll personally oversee the implementation. As the boardroom emptied, Hayes approached Alana. 80,000 viewers, last I checked. Yes, this could have been a disaster. Instead, it's an opportunity. We're going to become the banking industry leader in bias prevention. Hayes smiled slightly. You always were 3 steps ahead of everyone else. Outside the conference room windows, the city continued its Tuesday rhythm. But inside Zenith Financial, everything had changed. The incident that began with assumptions and prejudice had transformed into systematic reform. Sometimes the most powerful response to discrimination isn't anger or litigation. Sometimes it's simply proving them wrong. The boardroom had emptied except for Hayes, Alana, and Sterling. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, late afternoon sunlight cast long shadows across downtown. The city looked peaceful from 47 floors up, oblivious to the corporate earthquake that had just reshaped Zenith Financial. Hayes poured himself coffee from the executive service station. His hands were steadier now, but the incident's implications weighed heavily on his experienced shoulders. 72% controlling interest, he said quietly. Sometimes I forget you literally own this place. Alana smiled slightly. Most people do. That's usually fine, but not today. Not today. Sterling checked his tablet, monitoring the social media storm developing around the incident. Dr. Vance, the footage has reached 150,000 views. CNN's business desk just called our communications department. Alana wasn't surprised. Expected timeline for national news coverage? 6 hours, maybe less. The story has everything networks love. Clear villain, shocking reversal, social justice angle. Hayes sat down, his coffee cup in hand. Talk to me about exposure. What are we looking at legally? Alana pulled up financial projections on the main screen. Her preparation was thorough, as always. Potential civil rights lawsuit exposure. $15 million in damages plus legal fees. Federal banking discrimination investigation could trigger comprehensive audits costing another $10 million. Reputation damage to our brand value is harder to quantify, but comparable incidents have cost competitors 18 to 25% of their customer base. The numbers sobered everyone in the room. However, she continued, proactive reform implementation reduces legal exposure significantly. Public commitment to change, documented policy improvements, and transparent accountability measures typically result in settlements under $2.5 million. Sterling looked up from his tablet. You've already calculated the cost-benefit analysis? I calculated it while riding the elevator upstairs. Hayes laughed despite the circumstances. 15 years I've watched you work, and you still amaze me. Alana clicked to the next slide, showing detailed reform proposals. The Alana Protocol, yes, I'm naming it after myself, addresses unconscious bias at every customer interaction level. Initial implementation cost, $5.5 million. Annual maintenance cost, $2.5 million. She paused, letting the numbers sink in. Current quarterly revenue, $950 million. These reforms represent less than 1% of annual income while preventing potentially catastrophic legal and reputation costs. Sterling was taking notes rapidly. Implementation timeline: 30 days for policy changes, 60 days for technology deployment, 90 days for comprehensive staff training. Full audit and compliance review after 6 months. Hayes studied the projections carefully. La projection. Improve customer satisfaction typically increases account retention by 15%. Positive publicity from leading industry reform efforts could increase new account acquisition by 20%. Conservative estimate: additional revenue of $70 million annually. The business case was overwhelming. There's more, Alana continued. She clicked to market analysis data. Three major competitors have faced similar discrimination incidents in the past 2 years. None implemented comprehensive reforms. They're vulnerable to customer defection if we position ourselves as the ethical alternative. She highlighted specific market opportunities. Minority-owned business banking represents $50 billion in untapped market potential in our region. Our current market share in that demographic is 10%. Industry-leading bias prevention could triple our market share within 2 years. Sterling whistled softly at the numbers. But this isn't just about money, Alana emphasized. It's about institutional integrity. I founded Zenith Financial to serve everyone equally. Today's incident violated our core mission. Hayes nodded slowly. What do you need from leadership? Full executive commitment to change. Zero tolerance for discrimination at any level. Public accountability for our progress. She clicked to the final slide. Specific accountability measures. Monthly diversity reports from every branch manager. Quarterly bias training assessments for all customer-facing employees. Annual independent audits of our discrimination prevention protocols. Sterling raised a concern. Staff resistance? Some employees might view this as excessive oversight. Employees who view bias prevention as excessive oversight probably shouldn't work here, Alana replied flatly. The room fell silent as that truth settled. Hayes' phone buzzed with an urgent message. He glanced at the screen and frowned. Thorne just posted a LinkedIn statement. Quote, I deeply regret the misunderstanding that occurred today. I was simply following standard security protocols. End quote. Alana's expression hardened. He's not taking responsibility. He's minimizing his actions. Sterling pulled up Thorne's LinkedIn post on his tablet. He's calling it a misunderstanding and claiming he followed protocols. Screenshot that, Alana instructed. His failure to accept responsibility demonstrates exactly why systematic change is necessary. Hayes stood and walked to the windows, looking down at the street below. In 25 years of banking, I've seen dozens of discrimination incidents. Most get buried with quiet settlements and gag orders. He turned back to face Alana. You're doing something different. You're making this public and using it to force industry-wide change. Because quiet settlements don't prevent the next incident. They just hide the problem. Sterling's tablet chimed with another alert. Dr. Vance, the local community outreach organization, wants to meet with you. They're offering to endorse our reform efforts publicly. Schedule it. Community partnership will be crucial for credibility. Hayes returned to the table. Timeline for public announcement. Tomorrow morning. Full press conference announcing the Alana protocol implementation. We control the narrative by being proactive instead of reactive. She began packing her materials with the same efficiency she'd shown throughout the crisis. Media strategy? Sterling asked. Complete transparency. We acknowledge the incident, take responsibility for institutional failures, and present comprehensive solutions. No defensivênis, no minimizing, no blame shifting. Hayes smiled grimly. The opposite of Thorne's approach. Exactly. Alana's phone buzzed with a message from her assistant. She glanced at it and nodded. The mayor's office wants to discuss making Zenith Financial the official banking partner for the city's minority business development initiative. Sterling looked impressed. You've turned a PR disaster into a business opportunity. I've turned a teaching moment into systematic change. The business benefits are secondary. She stood, gathering her briefcase and tablet. Gentlemen, I'll see you at tomorrow's press conference. Leo, I'll need those implementation timelines by 8 a.m. You'll have them, Sterling promised as Alana moved toward the door. Hayes called after her. Alana, what you did today, handling that situation with such grace and turning it into positive change, that's leadership. She paused at the door. Reginald, what I did today was basic human dignity. The fact that it seems exceptional is exactly why we need these reforms. The elevator arrived quickly. As the doors closed, Alana could see Hayes and Sterling already deep in planning discussions. 47 floors below, the lobby had returned to normal banking operations, but everything had changed. Thorne's career was over. Lee had learned a valuable lesson about enabling discrimination. Sterling faced the biggest professional challenge of his career. The entire institution was about to undergo unprecedented transformation, and in a few hours, the story would be national news. The elevator descended smoothly, carrying the woman who had transformed humiliation into systematic reform. Outside the bank's glass facade, Tuesday afternoon traffic continued its usual rhythm, but inside Zenith Financial, history had just been made. Sometimes the most powerful response to being underestimated is simply proving them wrong. Sometimes changing the world starts with changing one institution. Sometimes the best revenge is massive success paired with meaningful reform. The elevator reached the lobby level. The doors opened to reveal a space that looked exactly the same as it had 2 hours earlier, but appearances could be deceiving. Everything had changed. 6 weeks later, Zenith Financial's downtown branch hummed with a different energy. The same marble floors reflected the same chandelier light, but everything else had transformed. Maria Sanchez, the new branch manager, reviewed morning reports at what used to be Thorne's desk. Promoted from assistant manager at the suburban branch, she brought 15 years of banking experience and a reputation for inclusive customer service. The changes were immediately visible. Bias prevention posters lined the walls. Digital monitors displayed the bank's anti-discrimination policy in English, Spanish, and Mandarin. Customer service representatives wore badges reading "Respect for All." Lee approached Sanchez's desk with her monthly diversity report. 6 weeks of intensive bias training had changed her perspective fundamentally. Monthly statistics, Lee announced. Customer satisfaction up 20%. Complaint reports down 68%. Employee confidence in handling discrimination situations up 45%. Sanchez reviewed the numbers with satisfaction. Any concerning incidents? 2 minor situations, both handled appropriately using the new protocols. Full documentation filed with corporate. The Alana protocol had exceeded expectations. Every customer interaction was now guided by bias prevention principles. Monthly training sessions kept discrimination awareness sharp. Anonymous reporting systems encouraged staff to identify problematic behavior before it escalated. Thomas, the security guard, had become an unexpected advocate for the changes. His 15 years of experience made him a valuable trainer for new policies. "I've seen discrimination happen dozens of times," he told new employees during orientation. The Alana protocol gives us tools to prevent it instead of just reacting after damage is done. The technology implementation had been remarkably smooth. Customer interaction monitoring systems flagged potential bias incidents in real time. Managers received immediate alerts when conversations showed discriminatory patterns. Lee's tablet chimed with an alert now. A teller's interaction with an elderly Asian customer had triggered the bias detection algorithm. She reviewed the conversation transcript quickly. The teller had repeatedly asked the customer to speak more clearly, despite the customer's perfectly understandable English. "Coaching opportunity," Lee muttered, heading toward the teller stations. This was exactly what the system was designed to catch. Before the Alana protocol, such microaggressions would have gone unnoticed and uncorrected. 20 minutes later, the teller had received gentle correction, and the customer had received exceptional service. The incident became a learning moment rather than a lawsuit. Thorne's replacement couldn't have been more different. Sanchez treated every customer with identical respect, regardless of appearance, accent, or account balance. Her branch led the bank system in customer satisfaction scores. The public response had been overwhelmingly positive. Zenith Financial's stock price had risen 15% since implementing the reforms. New account openings increased 35%, particularly among minority customers. Local business leader Damian Clark published a follow-up article in Forbes titled, "How One CEO Turned Discrimination into Industry Leadership." The piece highlighted Zenith Financial as a case study in proactive bias prevention. Zara Khan, the woman who live-streamed the original incident, had become an unofficial spokesperson for the changes. Her follow-up videos documenting the bank's transformation earned millions of views. "Y'all, this is how you handle a situation," she told her expanded audience. not with lawsuits or boycotts, but with real change that helps everybody. The ripple effects extended far beyond Zenith Financial. 3 competitor banks had announced similar bias prevention initiatives. The American Banking Association requested Alana's reform framework as a model for industry-wide adoption. Federal banking regulators praised the proactive approach. Instead of facing investigation, Zenith Financial became a compliance model for other institutions. Thorne's career trajectory had taken a predictable turn. After 4 weeks of unemployment, he'd found work at a small regional credit union in a different state. His LinkedIn profile no longer mentioned the Zenith Financial incident, but internet searches told the complete story. His replacement interview had been thorough. Sanchez underwent extensive bias awareness testing before hiring. Her approach to customer service emphasized dignity and respect for all. "Every person who walks through our doors deserves our best service," became her signature phrase during staff meetings. The cultural transformation was measurable. Employee satisfaction surveys showed marked improvement. Staff reported feeling more confident in handling difficult situations. The bias reporting system had received 0 complaints about discrimination in 6 weeks. Community partnerships flourished. The local community outreach chapter endorsed Zenith Financial publicly. The Chamber of Commerce for emerging businesses moved their banking relationship to the downtown branch. The mayor's Minority Business Development Initiative officially partnered with the bank. Alana's $7 million Minority Business Loan Fund had already approved funding for 16 startup companies. The initiative generated positive publicity while serving underrepresented entrepreneurs. Corporate headquarters tracked every metric obsessively. The reforms had cost $5.5 million to implement, but revenue increases already exceeded $10 million. The return on investment was undeniable. Hayes reviewed quarterly reports with genuine amazement. Customer retention up 18%, new account acquisition up 30%, employee turnover down 45%. The numbers told a story of institutional transformation that went beyond compliance. Zenith Financial had become the regional leader in inclusive banking. Sterling had emerged as a champion of the changes. His oversight of implementation had been flawless. Regional branches competed to achieve the best bias prevention scores. The Alana protocol isn't just policy, he told other executives. It's a competitive advantage. We're attracting customers specifically because of our commitment to equality. The technology investment had proven particularly valuable. Bias detection algorithms continued learning from each interaction, becoming more sophisticated at identifying subtle discrimination patterns. Lee had been promoted to assistant regional manager, her probationary period ending early due to exceptional performance. She now trained other managers in bias prevention techniques. "The incident that almost ended my career became the catalyst for my promotion," she reflected during a company training video. Change is possible when leadership commits to real reform. Industry recognition followed quickly. Zenith Financial received the National Diversity in Banking Award. Alana was invited to speak at 3 major financial conferences about bias prevention. The original viral video had been viewed over 2.5 million times across all platforms. Comment sections became forums for sharing discrimination experiences and celebrating systemic change. But the most meaningful transformation was cultural. Bank employees genuinely believed in serving all customers equally. The change wasn't just policy compliance. It was authentic institutional evolution. Thorne's departure had created space for authentic leadership. Sanchez's approach demonstrated that excellent customer service and bias prevention were inseparable. 1 year later, Dr. Alana Vance stood in the same marble lobby where everything had changed. The annual diversity celebration filled the space with employees, community leaders, and customers whose lives had been touched by the transformation. Maria Sanchez presented the branch's achievements: highest customer satisfaction scores in the bank's history, 0 discrimination complaints, and a 38% increase in minority business accounts. Zara Khan, now a paid consultant for the bank's community outreach program, documented the celebration on her social media channels. Her original live stream had become a case study in how viral moments could create positive change. 1 year ago, this lobby was a place of humiliation, she told her audience. Today, it's a symbol of what's possible when people commit to real change. Thomas, now head of security training for all Zenith financial branches, addressed the crowd about the importance of intervention when discrimination occurs. Silence enables discrimination, he emphasized. Speaking up prevents it. The statistical transformation was remarkable. Zenith Financial had become the fastest-growing bank in the region. Competitor institutions sent representatives to study their bias prevention protocols. Thorne's story had taken an unexpected turn. After 10 months of unemployment and soul-searching, he'd enrolled in diversity and inclusion graduate studies. His thesis examined unconscious bias in financial services. "I can't undo what I did," he wrote in a public Medium article, "but I can ensure others learn from my mistakes." Lee, now Regional Diversity Officer, managed bias prevention training for 1,500 employees across 50 branches. Her transformation from reluctant participant to passionate advocate inspired others. The Alana Protocol had been adopted by 20 banks nationwide. Federal regulators were considering making it mandatory for all financial institutions with over $1.5 billion in assets. Alana's influence extended beyond banking. She'd been appointed to the Federal Reserve's Community Development Advisory Council. Her expertise in discrimination prevention was reshaping financial industry standards. The original incident had generated lasting change, extending far beyond one bank. Universities taught case studies about transforming discrimination into systematic reform. Business schools analyzed the leadership principles demonstrated during the crisis. Community impact was equally significant. The Minority Business Loan Fund had provided over $50 million in startup capital. Unemployment in underserved neighborhoods had decreased measurably. Corporate partnerships had multiplied. Zenith Financial became the preferred banking partner for minority-owned businesses throughout the region. Account acquisition costs had dropped while customer lifetime value increased. The story continued, inspiring people worldwide. Translations appeared in 15 languages. International banking conferences featured presentations about the Alana Protocol's global applications. But the most meaningful change was cultural. Bank employees genuinely embraced inclusive service principles. Customers felt welcomed and respected, regardless of their background or account balance. Young professionals, particularly women of color, viewed Zenith Financial as an employer of choice. Recruitment had never been easier. The incident